the BROxFIRE Podcast.
Well, it sounds so good because I thought of it myself.
Why don't you fuck off?
Already did. Welcome to episode 10 of the BROxFIRE Podcast. My name is LJ Regine.
And I'm Will Fuller.
And it's time to man up, cut the bullshit, bro, and just laugh.
Bruh.
Will, tell us what we need to do.
Well, thank you for joining us. And the other thing is we would like you to subscribe. YouTube.
Yes.
Follow us on Instagram.
Yes.
And, definitely on Instagram. We'd love to see you follow us. We always have pictures and exciting things that go on. So, I got to give you the side eye today.
Yeah, that's okay. Trying out a new sitting arrangement here, seeing how it works.
Yeah.
Also, you'll see under our names at the bottom, there is our personal handles.
Somewhere right here?
Go ahead. Yeah, somewhere here.
What if I pointed up here? Would you have put it up here?
I mean, I guess I could do that.
Okay. So
make sure you subscribe to our own personal Instagram pages if you want to get to know more about the two of us.
Awesome. And I know you do. And
so what are we drinking today, Will, for Down the Hatch?
so I'm glad you asked.
Well,
So today we're drinking Teremana Tequila.
okay.
And one thing, this is created by The Rock, Dwayne Johnson.
Okay.
And one thing is that I
Love The Rock.
So The Rock is from around, it went to school in Miami, so that's exciting. So that's his local. Tequila is typically created in Mexico. It's their thing. It's one of
Interesting.
Their
I
things.
did not know that.
Yeah, so I guess I think it's the guava plant, I believe.
Okay.
If I'm wrong, then, well, it's okay.
It's all
So
right.
anyways, but one thing is about this tequila is, and I thought was something for the 10th episode to definitely celebrate is, Teremana is broken up. He created this title, and it was like Terra meaning the earth, and Mana, which is the Polynesian word for spirit. So
Cool.
it's basically spirit of the earth. And what he came up with this title is, and I watched this video and I recommend you watching it on his website, is the workers, they're working from their soul, they're working from their spirit, they're working hard, and from the earth, it's, this product is a product from the ground, so it's something that you make from a plant, and it's how it's growing and how everything is growing, his career and the hard workers around them. So I think this was something that it's something to celebrate. It's not just, hey,
Yeah.
we put this in a barrel, we made this, or barrel, I think. But I really feel that it's something to celebrate because he had to sell this, bro. He had to sell this to companies to buy it. It wasn't like, hey, I'm The Rock or I'm Dwayne Johnson, you should buy my product. He has to sell this just like everyone else.
Yeah, he had a thought out concept that he put together.
And before we cheers this, there was something I wanted to mention, and a lot of people don't really notice this, is that you created your own title, BROxFIRE. You took two words and you kind of put them together.
That's right.
And you created your own meaning.
That's right.
What does BROxFIRE mean?
So, rox is from the Latin word ferox, which means bold, wild, and defiant.
Perfect.
And so when I was trying to find a name for my gym that encapsulated what I wanted it to be, I always think of fitness and health and wellness as something that I like to spread like wildfire. Once you kind of give it to one person, they can give it to somebody else.
Right.
But there are a million wildfire everything. So I took that Latin word ferox, chopped off the FE because ferox was annoying, and it became BROxFIRE.
Awesome. See, and that's what I'm saying. So you created, just like he created this tequila, he created something that means something to him. And I felt like this would be a pretty good segue. So before we drink, I read something on his website that meant a lot. I thought was actually something, especially for what's going on today, now in 2020, but also for everything, in the world. The good thing in life don't come easy. Teremana is a result of incredible decision, dedication, and daily effort. Our work is never done, but when the day is done, it's only right that we gather with family, friends, and raise our glasses.
Well, cheers.
Cheers, bro. Let's see how this... It's first time tasting it, too.
Yep.
Actually, it's amazing.
Whew. It's good. It's strong.
It's strong, but it's kind of... It's not like it doesn't... So we always describe
It doesn't burn. It doesn't burn.
It's not one of those ones you feel like you have to like lick salt or trace with
Chase.
Trace. I'm just messing up on words today.
It's all right, man.
Chase with lime or anything like that.
Yeah.
So.
I can actually I almost feel like I taste the lime a little bit, and I don't know if there's lime hints or lime notes in it, but I don't
know. The breakdown is behind right there, but it's really good. It's It's actually really enjoyable. I'm a tequila drinker. I like tequila. As you know, I'm not the bourbon or the whiskey, scotch, and stuff like that type drinker, but I do like tequila. But I've always wanted a tequila that I could drink on the rocks, and this is like a tequila you could kick back and chill with.
Yeah, it says notes of bright citrus with a smooth, fresh finish.
So,
and I definitely agree with that.
From the earth, everything's
from the earth.
That's awesome. So, yeah, go.
Yeah, no, I figured while we were drinking here today and talking about The Rock that we could maybe name our top 3 or our top Dwayne Johnson movies.
I think that's great. You want to go first?
Well, tell me your number 3 choice first, because my number 3 and my number 2 are actually my number 3 is actually 2 different movies that are kind of together.
All right, so we're going 3 up to 1?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So it's going to be weird that I'm going to say this, but my number 3 movie, which probably one day will be number 1, I know this is going to seem weird, is Black Adam.
Oh, interesting.
And we were like, wait a minute, Black Adam's not out yet.
It's not even out yet.
It doesn't even matter because I know that, first of all, if anybody reads DC comics and stuff like that, he looks like the Black Adam comic, like the muscles and stuff, they over-exaggerate muscles.
That's The Rock.
He looks like him. So I'm excited. So number 3 for me would
actually... It's a movie that's not even out yet.
It's not even out yet. I thought I'd throw that in there.
Yeah.
Which is, I'm excited for. I'm really excited.
Yeah, it's supposed to come out December 2021. It was supposed to start filming this July, so we'll see if that's changed at all.
Yeah, I know it's tough for them to do that. So
my number 3 movie is actually a combination of The Mummy Returns and The Scorpion King, because that was like his first breakout.
Right.
Those 2 films. And they're super cheesy, early 2000s films, but they made him a movie star.
Yeah, he did well in it though. I mean, the plot, all that stuff could be a little cheesy. That's not his fault. I think one thing that wrestlers get crap for is that they can't act. This bro can act. So
I agree.
My number 2. And speaking of acting, it would be actually I really like Jumanji.
Jumanji, I never actually saw that.
You never have? Mm-mm. 1 and 2, I've actually seen them both.
Really?
And to give him credit for that, I mean, you have to act sometimes in comedy movies or when you're pretending to be, because in that movie, obviously, they are avatars. So kids or people are going into and they're playing him as a character. And so he has to act like that kid.
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool. And how he does it, I always have to admit, I'm like, wow, I actually can see the kid he's playing in how he's acting. So
he has a lot of range as an actor. He can do comedic, he can do dramatic.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you remember the original Jumanji movie from when we
Robin
were kids?
Williams?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was... I mean, Robin Williams did an amazing job on that.
I think it came out, I remember, Christmas, 95 or 96. I don't remember the exact year. But I remember we went to see it on Christmas Eve. And I remember being horrified because when you're a kid and you're yet that young and I don't know if you remember the insects and the spiders and the lion and it was just oh my God.
And then that guy running around with a gun trying to shoot them. I'm like, this is awesome.
Yeah. So my number 2 movie, my number 2, my number 1, they're probably not the most critically acclaimed of his films, but I like all his action where he's this action hero star. So number 2 is Skyscraper.
I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, it's actually, it's kind of ridiculous plot, but basically this building is burning down and he has to save his family from it, and it's a skyscraper.
Can I tell you something funny about that with you? So when we were working out at your gym, I remember seeing previews of that, and I had trouble, I had trouble doing pull-ups.
Yeah.
And every time you see these movies, you see the people fall, and then they grab onto a ledge, and then they pull themselves up. What people don't realize is go grab a bar and just try to pull yourself up with one arm.
It's not easy.
It's not even. Then you catch someone, and then you pull them up while pulling yourself up. It's almost humanly impossible.
It's not very realistic.
I know, but here's my point.
Yeah.
My goal was to learn how to do pull-ups, so maybe if one day I might have a slim chance. But then you see The Rock, and you're like, he possibly might be able to actually do that in real life.
Absolutely.
So that
and
was
what's your? Yeah, it was my 2.
My
what was
number
your number
1 is actually a movie that I saw that I really actually watch over and over again is Walking Tall.
I've not seen that.
There's a lot of movies that we go back and forth.
I know.
So Walking Tall is a great movie. One, he's a military vet. It almost has that Rambo type theme where he's walking back to his hometown. He's a veteran. like the war's over and stuff like that. And
wasn't there some sort of like drug issue in the hometown?
Yeah, in the hometown, and he's just not about it. But it was like a casino and all this stuff. I'm not going to ruin the whole theme for it, but that was a really, really good movie, and I really liked it. So
it's awesome. Yeah. So and again, my number one is another one of his action movies, The San Andreas Fault.
I've never seen that one either.
I've seen I like the ones where it's like, this is like a big, like going to the movies now costs a lot of money, right? So I actually used to frequent the movies all the time when I was younger and it was cheaper, but now I really have to pick and choose. So for me, when I go to the movies, I know the benefit is going to be a big screen, action, sound effects. So I tend to like to go for the big, loud, ridiculous movies that like, I don't really, don't think it's going to translate as well on a small screen.
No,
so
I understand completely.
This is about, again, an earthquake. The whole city gets destroyed in San Francisco, and
The Rock's there to save the day.
The Rock is there to save his family again.
I mean, he looks like that type of guy, though. That you ever seen certain actors where you're like, they don't look like if shit really hit the fan, will that bro be here?
Yeah.
Like, he looks like that kind of guy, though, that would be like, I got this.
Absolutely. And speaking of which, we always do a bro-worthy toast when we do this. And our toast today is actually going to be to The Rock, and for a very specific reason. Will, tell us why that is.
So, as you all know, that he's really popular for a lot of things. One of them is his muscles and his ability to work out. And I think he calls it like Iron Mansion, or his basically his LA Fitness or whatever type gym that he has in his house. It's his own workout place.
Oh, that's awesome.
And he shows it off a lot when he's working out, different workouts. But lately, since we've started this COVID-19, I've been watching him on Instagram, and he has not worked out on the camera. And a lot of people have started giving him like, hey, where are these workouts? And he did this small clip, which actually gave me kind of like a little bit of goosebumps, just showing the type of guy that he is. He actually was like, listen, I know people can't go to the gym right now, and not everybody has a gym. And he kind of like pointed of what he is. He's like, what type of asshole would I be if I'm like, yeah, hey, I'm working out my chest on these and this and that, and you knowing that you can't do that. He's not doing home workouts. He doesn't need to. His home workout is at a gym, so he doesn't need to come up with some creative ways to stay buff. He has a gym in his place.
Right.
So I think that just raised him up to another level in my mind, because it just shows that he's considerate, that he thinks about the people around him. He really has this way of wanting to motivate people. He knows he needs to do it a different way, and he wants people to stay positive. And I think
that's
really cool.
awesome. Well, cheers to you.
Cheers to you,
Mr. Johnson.
Hopefully you're watching this. That would just make my life.
So we wanted to move on to civilized and savage, or civilized or savage, rather. And we know that the majority of what we've been talking about for the past month and a half, has been COVID-19. So we kind of wanted to bring up a topic that necessarily wasn't directly related to COVID-19, but maybe had something to do with it. And we had talked a lot about Prince Harry, and Bro Harry, and his relationship with his wife, Meghan Markle. But today we wanted to talk a little bit about him and his brother's relationship.
Yeah, definitely. So typically I kind of start it, but you want to give your opinion on that? So
you go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, first of all, I mean, there's a lot of things that have been going on where they're talking about how they're fighting, and how there's a lot of heated because he left. And first of all, I really don't think the older brother cares that much. I mean, because the spotlight was on, it was always on Harry. Let's be real.
Right, because he is to be king.
Right.
Whereas his brother is not.
No, I'm talking about not Harry. I'm talking about the younger brother.
Oh, you're talking about, I'm sorry, William is the older brother, Harry's the younger brother. I'm sorry. Nope, my bad. Go ahead, Will.
So anyway, William, literally the spotlight was taken off him.
Right.
And Harry was all the spotlight. He was better looking, was in the military, he did all these things. He married an American girl.
Right.
Against all, like, doing all these different things that were, like, against the grain. And he's a star. He's a young heartthrob. Everyone loved him.
Yeah.
So for William to say that he is upset, I call bullshit. I think he's happy. He's in LA. Stay in LA. That's the life you want. You want the stars. You want the glamour. You want all the glitz and glamour, I think. And William is saying that there's tension. I really believe that these are what we would call, royal problems. Because if you think about it, they really are not obviously affected by COVID if they're going to not come together, because a lot of people have come together as families.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, we read this Cosmopolitan article that literally has months broken down and drama. Like, who has the time to sit and put this together? This reporter did, and it did say that as of March of this year that they have come together, but it's like always an up and down scenario. So maybe they have come together in this time.
I promise you, if you pulled William aside,
yeah,
and you're like, bro, do you really give a shit that he went to LA? He's going to be like, deep down, I'm like the shit now in England because I married a British girl. We are doing everything right. You know, we're drinking our tea with our pinkies up. We're doing everything we need to for the media. We look awesome. They look bad. William loves this. Harry doesn't give a shit. And I just think that there's so much stuff going on in the world that they even need to put this shit aside, which I don't think the media wants them to. But let's be real. Like, they're not affected by COVID. Like, apparently royalness do not get the COVID.
I guess the way that I look at it is, William is very duty bound and very traditional and wants to really follow in his family footsteps. The lineage is very important to him. And as I kind of mentioned earlier incorrectly when I thought you were talking about him, he is due to be king. So right. I always kind of saw William as more of the like, he's the older brother, but he has more of the stately, like sort of traditional path. And then you have Harry, who I think from the very beginning has always kind of done his own thing.
Yeah, he's like a wild child.
He's the wild child. So I think like when you have brothers, like, and even in bros, there's always going to be that tension between like two very strong personalities that want two very different things out of their life.
No, I agree wholeheartedly. And I think that, I didn't have any brothers, so I don't really know what that feels like. But I've had sisters.
4 sisters,
and it's a lot,
right?
Yeah, 4 sisters.
Wow.
So I don't know. But at the same time, you'd think that they would be a little more supportive of everything that's going on. It just, really at the end of the day, again, like I said, the spotlight was taken off William when Harry got married and to Merkel. And so Merkel. And so that right there in itself, I think kind of was a jab. Because again, let's remember, Harry has always been that heartthrob guy, the one that all the girls were always
you're right. He is better looking than William is for better. Sure. But William's going to be king. I guess you're like, I don't care. I'm going to be king.
Because to be a prince, I think just to be a heartthrob. To be a king, nobody. King's never the best looking.
Yeah.
So.
And so I guess we brought this up because we wanted to have a little bit something different than just COVID. But I do want to stress that, a lot of this is media generated, and who knows what the relationship is really like. If it's played up in the press, the British press in particular love to make mountains out of molehills. Right. I can imagine that I have an older sister and I have a younger half brother and sister. I could just imagine though that having your family relationships and your family dynamics spread out there for the whole world to see is probably like a difficult situation to be thrust in anyways.
I could tell you right now, I was just on a conversation like with Instagram with my family last night. If the media were to get a hold of that, they would be bored as fuck. And they'd be like, this is the dynamic of families. Sometimes I feel like they make it bigger than what it is.
Right.
And when you really get deep down into it, it's not that exciting. And so they have to create it. They have to
some sort of drama.
They have to create some story because I can't imagine it being this interesting all the time.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that is Civilized or Savage. Just a couple opinions from yours truly, Mr. LJ here.
Go look it up, though. Read it. Give us your thoughts, your opinions on what you feel. If you have a Civilized or Savage conversation or topic that you want us to talk about, let us know. We would definitely love to give our opinions on it. And hopefully, it's something that we can start talking about here. Any help would be great.
Absolutely. So we're going to jump into Go Pro Bro today.
Awesome.
Which is my section where I kind of talk a little bit about being an entrepreneur, a business owner, and trying to go pro in my own life. So the last time that we had Pro Bro before our last interview, we talked about now what? So that as a business owner, you started to deal with the after effects of COVID changing your business and you had to pivot. And I talked a little bit how I went from a in-person gym to basically becoming a media company overnight,
right,
producing lots of content. But I wanted to kind of take things, so that was kind of the professional side in a very focused way, but I kind of wanted to ask you bros out there, what have you done personally for yourself to maybe push yourself during this downtime, during lockdown? You've probably had a lot of time to yourself to maybe reflect and try something new, but you know, and I thought that maybe a lot of people would be doing that, but I got some statistics, Will. And
he's bringing up the numbers.
Yes. Netflix's Q1 2020 results, they brought in 15.77 million new global paid subscribers. They were estimating about 8. So they literally just about doubled what they thought they were bringing in. So what that tells me is that during this time, a lot of you bros out there are just sitting home on your ass watching Netflix. And I get it. Maybe there's a show you wanted to catch up on or whatever, but you have had the time and will probably still have another 2 weeks to a month to add something of value to your life. So I just kind of wanted to talk through maybe a couple things you could do to push yourself to grow during this time. What's your reaction to those Netflix statistics, Will?
So I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
I think Netflix, what they did is they've upped their game a little bit. They pushed out what Amazon Prime did not do. They bumped their movies, their videos up a little bit sooner. So if they were supposed to air
later in the year,
they bumped them up. Now, genius in my mind. However, I do have to agree with, sometimes you can find yourself watching a TV show and catching yourself, what do they call it, binging?
Yep, binge watching.
They binge watch. I'm not a big binge watch. I'm like the type of person where it comes to, like, I'll watch 2 and I'll be like, I'll save this for later. I'm like that type of person.
I love it.
Yeah, but because I'm not a binge watch person. And so because I want to feel like I've accomplished something in my day, and saying that I watched 4 episodes of like this show doesn't make me feel like I accomplished anything. So
for sure.
But the other thing is that it also, like, find ways, like what I've heard some people do, and it's something that goes to what you're doing, especially like working out or creating something, like between each show, do something, or, you know, pause the show, do something, go back to it. Like, there's so much that you can do. And I feel like Netflix is obviously leveraging this, you know, opportunity. People call it vulturing and stuff like that. But I think they're leveraging the opportunity of a downtime where people are their eyes are glued to a TV. And I think that this is a time for you to leverage something that you want to accomplish, even though it might not make you more money tomorrow, but it might be something that you'll feel good about.
Absolutely. And I think, you know, there's not going to be a lot of times in your life, knock on wood, that you're going to have the opportunity that you were handed right now to have all of this downtime.
Right.
So as a pro bro, you should always be looking for something to help facilitate some growth for you. Whether or not you can do that for all of time, you know, it doesn't really matter. It's about what you're able to do right now. So I wanted to give 3 different options for you that you could potentially do right now to facilitate some growth. The first thing is, and this is kind of an easy thing you can do, grab your bros and start a book club. So I've got a couple of friends who study Norse mythology. So I recommended, why don't we just get on a call twice a week and we're reading the same book and talk a little bit about the stories that we're learning about. It's a good way to connect with your bros or other people, learn some new concepts, engage, and it might give you some really cool ideas. And all it takes is one book, one friend, and a Zoom connection, and you're good to go.
Bro, did you just say book club?
I did say book club.
Okay.
What?
I don't know. I don't know if you could actually use the word bro and book club in the same sentence.
I've actually been invited to 2. Actually, this is not necessarily true. I actually had a live book club back in DC that was a couple of bros. We would go to a whiskey bar and we would, a cigar bar. We would drink whiskey and smoke cigars once a month and talk about a book. So it can be done.
No, I'm not saying it can't be.
It's just kind of an unusual
you
pairing.
Definitely have to bro it up by the whiskey and the cigars and stuff like that. But when you're like, get a book and get together, I don't know. I just feel like, but no, I mean, no, I agree with you.
So it's not for Will, but it might be for some bros out there. You might find something.
If you heard book club and you're like, oh my God, that's a great idea, do it. Me, if you called me and was like, let's do a book club.
No, I wouldn't do that.
I'd be like, I don't want to be part of that club.
I wouldn't do that, Will.
I would be the audiobook club.
You would be the audiobook club.
I don't have time for reading.
All right. So another thing that you can do is maybe learn some new skills, add some new skills to your trade.
100%.
One thing that I've gotten good at is editing on my MacBook, editing video. Now, this is really born out of necessity for my business as I transitioned. I'm now producing basically 2 or 3 videos a day, and I've had to really learn the ins and outs of editing, how things look, how things sound, how to add effects, how to make everything look really, really good. So for me, I was able to take something I had to do, but get really, really creative about that. But for you, you could find some sort of new hobby. Maybe you wanted to take up, I don't know, fishing is probably not the one thing that you can do right now, but there are tons of things that are out there.
There's fish out there waiting for food.
There are fish out there waiting for you. And I know, Will, specifically, you've really worked on building up our podcast in this time.
You know, yeah, definitely. And that was something that I wanted to learn a lot more about podcasts, how they work, and what it involves, like the good, the bad, the ugly type thing, and really diving into it. And it does take time. People think that just being right here, right now is like, oh, you just set up a video and you hook the microphones up and it's good. No, the content, but also Instagram, there's so much more. I just like hashtagging, making sure that you're adding pictures. I mean,
yeah, you've really learned about social media in a way you've never learned before during this downtime.
I would not have had time to do it if I had this time.
Regularly, yeah.
Another thing that's something that people, so I just want to make sure I didn't bump into anything you were going to say. No, so another thing that I wanted to make sure that people can, you ever have that time where you're like, I just really would love to learn a new language. You don't have to buy Rosetta Stones or something like that to be able to do it. There are some free stuff out there that will teach you how to learn. And I guarantee you, now you say book club, and this is something I wanted to add. If you do something like a language learning club where you just learn a language, learn a couple sentences, and then chat with people on Zoom, and all you can do is just have a conversation in that language.
There you go.
Whether you have to look it up, whatever you have to do. I think that's something that would be huge. Think about just where you would be, how much better you would be later.
100%. If you're someone who's a business person and you know that a lot of your market, especially down here in South Florida, speaks Spanish, why not take this time to learn that? You're going to become a way more valuable employee or business person because you've taken on that skill. You've got the time for it. There's no excuse why you can't add something. And then the last thing is a little bit more intense, but you could take this time to start a new creative or professional endeavor. Have you had a business idea in your head that you've been wanting to do and always told yourself you don't have time? Why not now? If you took 15 to 30 minutes a day and just focused in on whatever that thing was, then you would make so much progress within a month. So for me personally, besides working on the podcast with Will, I've been developing my own brand called The Modern Thor because I want to create a line of tank tops for Fit Bros and other sort of ideas that I want to explore via YouTube. That's a little bit different from my primary business, which is BROxFIRE, but it's giving me the opportunity to work with my graphic designer, get creative, start a whole new concept. There's so much opportunity in e-commerce right now that if you're someone who wanted to write a book and has an idea and never sat down, now's the time to do it. You could sell tons of books, dude. Like there are options for you to get creative. And then Will, I know you've been working on your own business endeavor.
Yeah, definitely. I've always had this idea of like a style guide type business where I help people dress. But the one thing about style guide that people don't understand is something especially down here in South Florida, is there's so much opportunity to find nice looking clothes for a good price in your budget. And that's something that people don't understand is that you have a budget and you can't be buying this Gucci, Prada, all these expensive clothes that are out there, but you want to look good. And people are like, I can't afford it. My goal is to show you, in the style guide type fashion that you can look great and keep it under. Like if you're like, I want to keep it under $500 for a whole outfit, I can help you. And I feel like a lot of people don't know that that's actually out there and to look good. So
I think that you taking the time to kind of explore this concept for yourself, probably, to be honest, maybe wouldn't have happened until later this summer when you had further downtime, because I know how busy you are with your job all the time. But you've had a little extra time here to develop your own brand, and I think that's really exciting. So bros out there, there's 3 options you got: book club, new skill, creative or professional endeavor. take the time, make the time. You've got it right now.
Yeah.
Sit down and get it done, dudes. And you can share with us in the comments any other ideas that you have for what you can do productively with your time during the lockdown and the remaining time there. Now, speaking of style, Guy, we're going to throw it over to Will for Man About Town, where he's going to tell you a little bit more about how he found his style and how we can find ours.
I agree. And thank you. I feel like this is a great segue into it perfectly. It's almost like we had it planned. So one thing I got a question asked, and I actually get this question all the time when it comes down to it, is how do I find my style? We keep talking about style, and we talk about, you know, the look that you want to create and I have a different style than you have than you.
For sure. But I'm always in a tank top. You're always looking dapper.
Yeah, but you don't always wear the tank top. So, I do. But my point is that you go to a lot of events.
That's true.
Right? You have to do networking. And then you just like to go out and have a few drinks with the bros or just have a party. And you want to always kind of find your look.
That's right.
And so everyone wants to have that look. So there's something that I wanted to help in this part of the podcast where I want to be able to help you find your style. And I think that's really important. And one of the things is you have to think of three things. You have to also think about what you wear at work, because again, we're talking about money. So you may not have the funds to be able to buy something for work, buy something for like events, and then buy something to go out to the club. You might not be able to. So what you have to do is you have to figure out what you're going to wear to work. And I know this is a little bit different for you, but to events, and then also what you're going to wear out at the nightclub. Does that make sense?
That makes total sense. And I also think a benefit of being a bro is that a lot of times with women, you have one outfit and it's just one outfit that you can only wear for one specific things. I know guys can get a couple different pieces and kind of mix and match. So you don't have to have a huge budget to do this.
And this is exactly what I'm going to break down. So once you figure out your work, your events, and after hours, that's really important. Like what I mean about the work part, and I don't want to get too granular with this, but I wanted to actually explain it a little bit more. If your work is business casual, great. Buy stuff for business casual. Figure out what it is, see what the people are wearing around, but create your image out of that business casual. Especially wear that to events, because that represents you. Never change. I'm the type of guy, when I go to an event, I like to be in the suit, tie. I like to be able to represent my brand the way I like. It's a style that I have, and it is who I am. And I wear that same thing to work. However, when I go out to like a nightclub or I want to go dancing and stuff, I have the same type of feel, but I mix it up a little bit.
I do remember you saying, and I know that I've quoted this before, you'll never be remembered as the, I'm going to screw it up.
No, never be afraid of being the best dressed person in the room. Always be afraid of being the worst dressed.
Right. So your point about business casual, you can always look better than what's required of you, and people are going to remember that, right?
Exactly. Find your business casual and always step up your game. Now also the look that you want to portray. This is the most important part, and we're going to probably have pictures, I'm hoping, right above, so you can kind of see. I've taken some pictures of different outfits, which I consider the three things: the classic business look, the casual business professional, and the comfortable business. So those three things are broken up as like a professional, and what I like to call like wild, and then also rugged. And I'm creating these names. So if you Google them, you might find something different, but these are just things that I've created, and there's a reason for it. So I'm just going to quickly break it down, and we can kind of talk back and forth about it. But the first thing is a professional look. That could be the banker, the lawyer, anybody who, the insurance agent, the person who wears the tie, the suit.
This is the classic business look?
Yeah, the classic business look.
Okay, cool.
So you can wear that to an event, and if you want to kind of loosen the tie, whatever, going out to a network, but you're always in that suit and tie. You always feel like you always have to represent pocket squares, lapel pins, however you want to be in that. That's always the professional, the look, the banker. You can wear that, even if your work is business professional, be you. Wear what you want to wear. I've always been in an environment where it's business casual, and I still wore business professional.
Yeah.
So it's how I've been. The second thing is the wild. Now, the wild is, it's not like too crazy, but what I mean by wild colors, like bright reds, bright yellows, or, different things where you're standing out. So you might have a gray suit jacket with red pants. Those are things that you definitely will stand out when you're out at work, or you'll definitely stand out when you're at an event. You'll get lots of compliments. That is for somebody who will stand out. That's for somebody who wants to be noticed when they walk in the room, who want people to come up to them and be like, ooh, I like this. Ooh, they can see you from a distance. If you're more of an introvert and you're kind of a little bit shy, you like to look nice, but you don't want people to come up to you that much, that wild style is not you. It's a wild mind. You want to be out on the floor. You want to stand out when you walk in the room. The other one is rugged. And where I came up with that name is actually by working with you. You told me one time, you sent me a message like, I want to look like a lumberjack. Now, I Googled what lumberjacks look like, and I'm like, no. But I'm actually wearing what I would feel as a lumberjack look today.
Right.
There'll be a picture of that too. There's different ways to do that. Yeah, I'm wearing flannel right now. I'm wearing flannel with a suit jacket. People said that couldn't be done. Well, I'm doing it. My point is that people see these flannel, like deep red colors, deep blues, and they feel like it's more of a macho, rugged look, and it will bring it out. Don't be afraid of unbuttoning. If you have a real muscular chest, don't be afraid of actually showing off what you've worked on. But at the same time, you're sending that message that, hey, I'm still professional. Now, if you're going out to the nightclub, you can take this jacket off, roll up these sleeves, still wear the khakis, wear the dress shoes, and you'll be fine.
So, Will, is kind of what you're saying is like you can take the different aspects of your personality and create sort of a style avatar around those,
right,
depending on what you want to portray, whether you're going to a business, out, hanging with friends. Like you can take these different, because we all have different characters that we inhabit throughout our day. We all have different hats we play, and you can kind of create something around that.
Right. And so now people might ask me, okay, great, but how do I find that?
Right.
Here's my recommendation. Go to your Macy's, go to your Neiman Marcus, go to your whatever you go to buy clothes. You can go to TJ Maxx, you'll find stuff there.
Old Navy.
Target. Old Navy. What was the other one I had to go to?
You had me go to, was it Express? No, it was H&M.
H&M.
Yes.
So go to these places, and this is my recommendation. Find the professional, find the wild, and find the rugged. Bring them into the fitting room. Do not mix and match yet. You're not at that level. Put each of them on and find whichever one you feel good in. If you're looking at yourself and being like, okay, no, you can't have any doubt. If you put on the rugged style, you need to be like, and that's what happened with you. You put on this style that I picked out that I consider was rugged. You're like, yes. You're taking pictures, you're sending it to people. You walked into the room, you're like, look at this. It was something that you were confident in.
Yes.
And so that's what I'm saying. Go into the fitting room. You don't need me there. Just pick out these different things, put them on, try them on, stand in front of the mirror, walk out. If you're afraid to walk out of the door with this outfit on, then that, bro, is not the right fit for you. You want actually to be like, oh, that hot girl that was at the counter, I want her to see me in this. That's your style. So that's what I recommend. Test it out. Go ahead. It doesn't take that long. And once you find that style and it fits the way it should, then definitely that's your look and go with it.
So for your skin tone or skin color, I know that from working years ago in New York, I worked with a friend who was a stylist, and she did a makeover on me or whatever. And she showed me that there are certain colors that work better with my skin tone than others. How do you recommend somebody figures that out for themselves?
Well, again, when it comes to the skin tone, I agree. I understand that part. But also at the same time, it's also about being comfortable in your skin.
Yeah.
And what I always recommend is if you put the outfit on, what I always say is take a picture in the mirror, and that color you'll see it. There used to be like, if you're a darker skin, you wear this color. If you're a lighter skin, you stay away from this color. Yes, if you're very pale white skin and you don't want to wear the pinks, you don't want to wear the bright greens because that might overemphasize.
But what you're saying is you'll see it.
You'll see it if you take a
picture.
But at the end of the day, if you can make it work, make it work. That's the one thing I don't want to take away from anybody, is that as long as it fits nice, it looks nice, and you're trying to create your image. Because at the end of the day, we've said this most of the time, if you're trying to attract, if you walk into a room, confidence is the number one thing. And I've always believed in that. Confidence equals conviction. And if you're walking in the room with a pink shirt and you're a paisley white person, and you're confident, that's going to be fine. That's who you are. Represent you.
So what I'm getting from you is that it's your confidence and it doesn't necessarily matter the what, it just matters how you feel in it. And if you feel powerful and strong and confident, that's going to come across no matter what it is.
So if he was to come up to me, and as you can see your look, you have the long beard.
I do.
And you shaved your head. Now, everyone would be like, that's the rugged look. What if LJ wanted to be the professional look? So that look with the beard can't be? No, that's not true at all. You could rock the professional look if you wanted to. Yep. And it would look probably like amazing because it's so different. The best example I use is the Ultimate Fighter guy, the Irish guy, McGregor.
McGregor.
Yeah. He was in this, I think it was like a Hennessy commercial where he was in a suit and tie.
No, I think it's his own whiskey, right?
His own whiskey.
Yeah, his Irish whiskey.
His Irish whiskey. And he looked fucking amazing, man. And it was because he was in a suit, tie, and people are like, oh, that's not his look. Who are you to say that?
Right. Because you see him shirtless all the time.
Yeah, shirtless, or he's like the rugged look. He's just rugged. I mean, when you say rugged, I mean, you can't be any more rugged.
But he looks ruggedly professional.
Yeah, and that was, and he was actually more even banker. You could say he could have been a banker. He could have been a lawyer. It doesn't matter on that part when it comes to it. All I need for people to understand is you have to find the look that's comfortable. Don't go by your skin tone or your facial hair. But some people grow the beard or like change their facial hair or cut their hair to fit that image. Make sure that whatever image you're trying to create here, that you try to match it down there to what you feel comfortable.
Will, that's awesome. I think that's really great advice. And, what I have always taken away from working with you is that, you didn't like say, what? When I was like, hey, South Florida lumberjack, you were like, okay, let's do this because this is how you identify how you feel. Let's find something that works. And I think what I'm getting from you this section today is find your confidence in the clothes that you wear.
100%. And then that's all I ask is that if you do have questions, I am starting an Instagram. We're going back and forth on it, on the title. I like your title on it.
We'll put it down here at the bottom for you to follow.
And what I'm just going to do is create, again, images, prices, and it's going to be for the person. If you want to go expensive, go ahead. But I'm going to show you suits that you can buy at a cheap price. I'm going to try to explain what I do to get them to fit right, because you should always have that amazing fit. Baggy takes away everything that you've worked for. It makes it look less. If you could have a Gucci suit, you could have an Armani suit, and it doesn't fit right. It's going to look like crap. So these are things that I'm hoping to show people on Instagram, and then also here, especially with the questions, because I got a few questions that are going to really help.
And see, guys, listen, Will has just taken on this idea and he ran with it. You can do that. You've probably got a million really good ideas in your head, dudes. Create something with it. I'm excited to see where this goes.
Yeah, I'm excited also.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to finish up here with what we call Bro, Really? Which is a little story that I've searched the depths of the internet to find.
And I have to tell people, the reason why I'm always so when we created this Google Drive Word where we share and we type
doc, yes.
on this doc, that's why you might see us look down. One thing you might know, which by the way, I highly recommend, because this is the coolest thing ever. We can go back and forth on notes from our home. We do not need to be working together at the same time. We can come
Social
up with
distance.
Ideas. The funny thing is the title is Bro Really, obviously, like he just said. Here's the story, don't look.
So he's not heard this story
I have not heard this story.
And any of the other weeks either. So a driver's trip through Minneapolis on a warm Sunday took a turn for the worse as a passing motorist chucked a Chipotle burrito bowl through his open window.
Oh, shit.
Blake Ritland was driving down Hennepin Avenue with a bowl when a bowl with all of the fixings, including sour cream, came flying through the window and onto his dash. He shared the result of the drive-by on Twitter, and the tweet having since then been retweeted more than 11,000 times. He quoted, "It was a beautiful day. I'm driving down the street with the windows down, minding my own business. Next thing I know, Chipotle is all over." While driving, the Twin Cities can have its share of frustrations at times. Ritland says, to his knowledge, the attack was completely unprovoked.
Did he say attack?
The attack, yes.
It was attack.
So can you imagine driving down the road and all of a sudden you get a burrito bowl just comes flying in?
Well, you know what?
Through window?
I can't imagine, but you know what? I kind of understand, because I think that if somebody was to give me
Chipotle, what?
If somebody gave me Chipotle, I'd be like, fuck it.
You don't like Chipotle?
No, I'm not a Chipotle eater.
Oh my God.
I do not.
It's Chipotle, not Chipotle.
I don't even want to learn the name. I'm going to say it incorrectly. No, I believe that. I remember when they had lines out the door.
Yeah.
I just feel like they're not the all-natural, fresh food that they should be. I think that at the same time, I would rather when the local places, like we've got Vale Foods.
We love Vale.
We've got Beehive. I even like, I think it's called like Bowlalicious or something like that. Like these places are the same exact thing. And
so what would you do if a bowl of food came flying in your face while you were driving?
First of all, it's called air conditioning, and I wouldn't have the windows open. And if it hit my car,
Fair.
I would be like, fuck them. But at the same time, really, bro? Like, I don't know which one's here's the point. Here's 2 points I want to make.
Okay.
Really, bro, you reported this?
Well, what I read is that he also has a podcast. So like there's a cynical part of me that's like, did he make this up and stage this so he had something to talk about on his Twitter and his podcast?
Okay, so the second part is, wow, that guy's got a pretty good aim to hit a window. So that's why I don't believe it.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, like...
He's got pictures. There are pictures.
Yeah, but you could throw your own fucking bowl of shit. Did it get filmed?
No.
Okay, exactly. I could throw a fucking... His podcast obviously needed reviews. Maybe that's what we're going to do. Maybe we'll do something crazy. But the thing is like, when I was younger, I can't get in trouble for this now, we used to go to McDonald's and we used to grab a cup, fill it with water, and napkins. This is when we were real young. And so we used to... The bros that are watching this, if they were watching this, they're going to be like, don't tell this. We used to like throw the wet napkins out the window. And it would
hit cars?
It hit cars. We missed all the time. We would miss all the time.
Yeah,
so what are the odds of you getting it in a fucking window? Was he parked?
No, he was driving on the highway.
Yep.
Yeah.
A highway.
Well, I think so. The way. Some way. Freeway, highway.
So really, bro, really, bro, on this is, really? Did this happen?
Did that really happen to you?
Did you just throw or did you get mad at somebody, or did you get pissed off and throw your Chipotle at your window?
The worst that we used to do in high school was if we were driving down the road and there was somebody on the side of the road, we used to honk at them, and then everyone in the car would wave the other way so that they would think like, oh, they weren't talking to us, and they'd get really confused.
Yeah, but if you're looking the other way, how did you know?
What do you mean?
How'd you know they looked?
Because we looked back after, and they were still standing there like, what? I thought it was fun.
All right, we were a little more devious when we were young.
Maybe. Well, either way, bro, it's time to say goodbye.
It is time to say goodbye. I really appreciate everybody joining. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. I know I did. It was a great conversation.
Yeah.
I know we didn't have a guest today, but we will be having a guest again soon. We'll be releasing on Instagram because I know how to do that now. We'll be releasing who that will be, and I'm excited for whatever guest we have. But don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. It's really important for us, and I know that sometimes it doesn't sound like mean or whatever, but subscribing, just clicking means a lot for us.
100%.
We really would love that. It means a lot. Also following us on Facebook and Instagram. Instagram mostly because that lets us educate you on things that we're doing. So if we're doing something, we talk about something, or a show's coming out, one of our podcasts is coming out, you'll know on Instagram. You'll see the pictures, the alcohol that we drink. I post this early so you can kind of get an idea if you want to be able to sip it with us or try it out for yourself. You'll see all these things on there. If you have something that you want us to talk about, a drink that you may be interested in, Instagram is definitely the best way to get a hold of us.
Absolutely.
So, but most importantly, do not forget, bros, remember to man up, cut the bullshit, and just laugh. Brah.
Awesome.
I love saying brah.
Brah's a great word, man.
Brah.
All right, well, thank you guys so much. We will see you next time.
Deuces.